Hello, and welcome to Have At Us, Reviews for Your Pleasure, where we share our honest thoughts, opinions, feelings, often hot takes. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Nietzsche.
And this is episode This is Halloween. We are talking about, you guessed it, The Nightmare Before Christmas from 1993. It came out in October, if you couldn't have guessed it.
This episode's also in October. For the exact same reason.
It's almost like there's a conspiracy going on. But before we begin, there's a spoiler warning. We're spoiling this film that you've already seen. That's why you clicked on this. But now you know there's spoilers. And also, you can have at us anytime, any place, but preferably online. The links are down below. Click them, type things, and that's it.
Now I know you love this film. It's your favorite film.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone on a journey with this film.
You've gone on a journey. Now, I distinctly remember you not liking this film.
I originally did not like this film. Now, the first time I saw this film was a long time ago. I do not remember when. It wasn't in theaters because this came out a couple months before I was born. So that would have been difficult.
Oh, tragic. Your mother probably went and saw it in theater. So you could have this story of like, I was there though.
Yeah, maybe. But, I didn't like it when I was younger, and then I've only ever seen it one other time, which would have been 5 or 6 years ago, and I thought it was not great. But I also was not in the mood to watch a movie at that time, and was just kind of wanting to be angry. So I didn't give it any real fair shake, and I'd pretty much forgotten most of this movie before watching it again yesterday, and I went in with I'm going to try to enjoy this movie attitude, and I think I was moderately successful.
Moderately successful. That's because it's a good movie. It's not great, but it's good. It's firmly good.
The solid good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good film. My biggest problem is that it's a short film, but it feels kind of long to me.
Really?
It feels long. By the time I'm at the end, I'm like, it's been like an hour 45. Nowhere even close to that. But it feels long to me, even though I am enjoying the movie while watching it. It still feels long, and I don't really know how to rectify that feeling with myself. And it kind of leaves a bad taste, but I don't really have a good reason why. So it's very odd.
The only things that I think shouldn't be there, I don't think they make the film longer feeling. But the things that don't need to be there are the things between Jack and Sally, of them being love interest weirdness. Because it's just so tonally different than everything else in the movie.
It is.
And it's kind of weird. Sally is just not a very interesting character as a personality. Like, she does things that are interesting. But her personality is so boring. And I'm just like, okay. And then it ends with them being like, oh yeah, let's have our weird little song. And you're like, I don't need this. The movie resolved just fine.
I actually agree pretty much with everything you just said. I think her actions are more interesting than her character. I like how she's kind of clever. I like how she can just like jump out a window and fix herself up. It's funny, and she does some interesting things. But she's also kind of boring, and their romance is just not necessary. It doesn't add much to this film. It doesn't really feel like a relevant part of the film. Except for maybe the scene in which she gives him like a bottle of whatever the hell that was. Drink.
Wine.
Poison.
Might have been. I don't know. It put a butterfly out when he opened it though. And that was pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Now, can they have sexual relations?
So what's interesting is the official soundtrack to this movie has a prologue and an epilogue read by, I think, Patrick Stewart. Just randomly. And in the epilogue, I think I read that it's supposed to say that Jack has a kid.
With Sally.
I'm assuming Sally. I haven't listened to this, but I was a little interested, like, how did this work?
So she has her parts like all sewn together, right?
Yeah, and he's a skeleton.
So she, potentially has a vagina and a womb. I don't know how she is producing fertile eggs, but apparently she is, okay? That's fine. I will just accept that. But Jack over here, there's no penis to speak of.
It's the bone marrow.
He breaks his bone and pours the marrow into her vagina?
You know, I don't know what they're doing in Halloween Land, but it could be.
This is weird, okay?
I don't know why you went in this direction.
Because I thought it would be funny. And then it turns out there's actually some real points here where he has a kid. Why does he have a kid?
It's a good question. I don't really understand myself. There's a lot of things I don't really understand about the greater mythos of this movie.
It doesn't explain itself incredibly well.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense at all.
If you're bought in, then it's fine.
Yeah.
And I was engaged, so that was good.
It covers itself well in that the movie is very interestingly made. Stop motion, of course, an old art style, and not something we see a lot of in a feature-length film. So it's pretty cool.
It's also clay.
I don't even know if it actually is clay, because I was reading, trying to see if this was actually clay. I was not getting a definitive answer. All they were saying is stop motion.
Clay animation is stop motion.
Yeah, but they're not like... Not everything that is stop motion is claymation.
I agree, but I don't know how you look at the character models and don't see clay.
I'm just saying, I did not get a definitive answer. I didn't look too hard. But it was only saying that this is a stop motion movie, not that this was a claymation movie.
Well, I don't think everything is clay, but all of the characters are clay.
Yeah, apparently they had a whole bunch of heads for Jack, so he could do a bunch of different expressions. They had like 10 for Sally.
Yeah, because you have to have that many heads for clay.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Stop motion is painstakingly slow, and is a big part apparently of why Tim Burton, whose name is all over this film, did not direct this film, and in fact had very little to do with the creation of this film. He made a poem while he worked for Disney that was 3 pages long, apparently, and that was originally supposed to be like a TV special or something short film for Disney. It fell through, kind of sat around for a while. Eventually, he was going to get the movie up and running, and he shared his ideas with some other people. And then eventually, the project was handed over to Henry Selick, and this is his first directorial movie. I guess he was like an animator, and he went off to direct the movie. And apparently during production, Tim Burton barely had anything to do with it. Like, he apparently visited set a couple times over the years. That's about it.
How many years did this take?
I think it was like 3 years or something. Disney marketed it as a Tim Burton movie. One, because they were scared this wasn't going to do very well. And it wasn't originally published under Disney. It was originally published under Touchstone, which is like their adult section, because they didn't think this would appeal to kids. And they used Tim Burton's name because it was a seller. And so it's just kind of a weird mess of people, honestly, going on with this film.
But it turned out good, and that's what matters.
It did.
Results matter.
That's true. The songs were written before the script.
That makes sense. There's a lot of songs.
11 songs.
Yeah, the movie is songs.
It's a musical. I had forgotten just how much of a musical it was.
I forget a large portion of the songs, but I always remember that there are a lot of songs.
Do you like the songs?
I think all the music works, except for the end and Sally's weird little intermediary singing thing.
Sally's song. So I re-listened to the entire soundtrack, or all the songs, while I was at work today.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I did. Because I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to these again a little bit better in the ear, try to listen to the lyrics and whatnot, figure out what I liked, and if there was any I was kind of mixed on. And so that was kind of a fun experience. I don't think Making Christmas is very good. I don't love that song. Sally's song, I also agree, is not very good, along with the final, but that's pretty short and not that important. But I like basically everything else.
Yeah, I don't know that they work to listen to outside the movie to me, but they work in the movie really well.
I think it looks like a film that the designers, the sculptors, had a lot of fun with. Now, apparently, the part that was the worst was the Oogie Boogie when he gets unraveled, and it's just the bugs. Apparently, that was like 4 months to get no more than like 3 or 4 shots or something.
I'm sure.
And it was just really, really hard.
You'll notice most of the bugs burned conveniently.
I'm sure that actually probably was very difficult. Just this amalgamation of bugs talking and a lot of work. But it's pretty cool at the same time. Like, I think it has a cool image to it.
It looks neat. It's kind of weird that he's really just a bug monster
It's very
that
weird.
has, sentience. I don't know. It doesn't make any real sense.
I thought hive mind. That was my thought.
I guess, maybe, but they're, feeding bugs to him, and the bug that gets fed to him is the one that gets killed at the end. And so, I don't know. He's engaging, and I just move on from the fact that the ending of it makes zero sense.
It doesn't make sense. It's very odd. My biggest problem is still how the world works, and I don't understand.
What do you mean how the world works?
So, at the very beginning of the movie, we come into the grove, right? Got the trees, and we see all the trees with the holiday symbolism on them.
Mm-hmm.
Got Valentine's Day and St. Patty's Day. You got a turkey, Christmas, and Halloween. Was it just those? I think that's all of them.
Easter.
Oh, yeah, of course, the Easter Bunny. And so these are doors that open, and then we go into it, and then we're at Halloween Town.
Mm-hmm.
But not long after that, we got Jack out here exploring the woods, and he comes across this grove.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, so the trees actually are a place you can visit, I guess. And then he goes into the Christmas world.
Yeah.
And then he comes back to the Halloween world. How did he get back? It's just like he had a sleigh and everything. Did he just traverse across the world? Did he go back through this portal tree thing? I don't understand. And then later in the film, he's in the real world. And I'm starting to wonder, is the tree grove just like a central place and all worlds connect to it? I just don't understand how this all works on a geographical scale. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
My understanding is that all of the holiday towns are in the real world, and the trees just take you to them. How does Jack get back? I don't know, because he falls out of the sky.
Yeah.
He doesn't come through another door. He falls out of the sky into the snow.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't really understand how we're moving about in this world.
I'm fine with it. I moved on. My explanation is sufficient for me. So I move on.
It is fine. It's kind of funny. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There's no explanation to much of anything in this film. You just kind of have to accept that this is a really wacky place.
Yeah, but it sells it.
It does. And I think it does that through its art style and its commitment to the Halloween monster theme. Now, how do you feel about the monsters? Do you like them?
I think they all look good. You know what the best one is?
The clown with the tearaway face?
It is not the clown.
Not the clown, okay.
No, I really like the weird monster that has the big rim of teeth coming out. And then he's got the small little, where his head is, teeth system. And it just kind of looks like his head is like water pouring out of a fountain. It just looks really stupid. But it also is I don't understand anything about this. And so I'm engaged and I'm intrigued. That's why I like it the best.
Okay.
Everything else is yeah, great, you're some vampire families and you're a werewolf. You're a clown, because clowns are terrifying.
I mean, let's be real. If you saw that clown, you would be a little terrified too.
No, why would I be terrified?
He's riding in a cycle. He rips off his face for fun.
Does he, though?
Yeah.
Maybe he just does it to scare children, of which I am not. Me and the clown could be best friends. You don't know that.
Could be. I actually really like the design of the mayor.
His two heads?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think it's really funny. It's a little on the nose, being like a two-faced mayor or politician. Yeah, I get it, but it works. I think it's funny. I like the mayor's character. I think he's kind of funny. I don't really understand the purpose of him outside of just kind of doing what Jack wants, because Jack is obviously the coolest guy around.
He's the Pumpkin King, okay?
He's the Pumpkin King, and everybody hails to the Pumpkin King. I like Jack. I just don't really understand the hierarchy very well, because Jack gets to do whatever he wants, and he kind of just decides to do stuff. The mayor's coming him for his input on the next Halloween, so Jack's important here. He's the figurehead, and then the mayor is just like the grunt worker who goes around in his car and his megaphone yelling that there's a town meeting or something, or that Jack is dead.
My favorite part about when the mayor comes to him for the next year's Halloween is that he's like, Jack, come on, I can't do anything on my own. I'm only an elected official. And I'm like, that's some pretty mean commentary on elected officials. But it's really funny.
It is funny.
Also, the other people there are just standing there watching him be a failure. And then when he is fallen, they're like, oh, he's not here. He hasn't been here all night. Just saying.
Yeah, they really had his back there. It's funny because it's like the mayor has no, like, respected authority, really, but he's still the mayor. It is very strange.
They elect him because nobody else wants to do it.
Probably true.
And he's like, yeah, I got this.
But in general, I think the monster design is fun. It's silly. It's over the top. I think the vampires are a little boring. I do like how they have umbrellas, though, even though some of the times it looks like they're not even using them properly, and this would be no help at all. But I think it's a funny little touch.
It's fine.
And then you get, like, your little kids, the trick-or-treaters, barrel, shock, and lock.
Lock, shock, and barrel.
Yeah,
That's how they're introduced.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite way.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of like them.
They're really terrible children.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Hellions.
Absolutely horrendous children. And I don't know why. I don't know where they come from. I don't know if they're orphans. I like that they just have ridiculous faces. Like, their faces are shaped in such ridiculous proportions.
They're trying their hardest to be the biggest menace around. And they seem to be moderately successful.
Until Jack comes in and roars at them, screams at them.
People respect his authority for the most part.
They're terrified of his scream, okay? I just like that he has like all the teeth. Looking like he's just got like teeth going down his throat.
No eyes, though.
He has eyes? He has eye sockets at least.
Yeah, but he doesn't have eyes, which apparently Tim Burton did fight to have no eyes. Because the rule in animation was you have to have eyes to convey emotion. But he's like, nah, screw that. No eyes.
Well, that rule in animation is poor. Because I feel like he conveys emotion just fine.
I agree. Now, Jack is an interesting fella. He's pretty arrogant, to be honest. He thinks pretty highly of himself. He knows he's the best.
He is the coolest in Halloween Town, though. Like,
he is.
Is he arrogant, like, for thinking he's the coolest person around because he is the coolest person around?
Yes. I think most people would think that.
I don't think so. I think that he has an understanding of how his world works, right? Now, his arrogance is really in Christmas Town. He still thinks he's the coolest thing, and that's pretty arrogant.
Yeah. He's thinking he's Santa Claus, but he's no Santa Claus.
He's climbing around on all the buildings and being crazy and...
What's this?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that song a lot, actually. I really think of this movie almost like a midlife crisis. This is Jack's midlife crisis. I don't know how old this guy is. I don't know how old anybody is. It seems like they would be eternal.
Well, I assume they're all dead, except the monsters. Like the actual monsters. Like, Jack's just a skeleton.
Yeah, so he'd be the undead, right? Yeah, I'm not really sure on this, but I still think this is a midlife crisis. He's bored of the same old, same old. He finds something new and exciting. It goes horrendously. And then he's like, you know what? Things weren't so bad. I actually liked being a menace to all the people. I'm going to go do that again. I got some great ideas. And then he comes back, solves his problem, gets with the girl. Midlife crisis over.
As a kid.
It's kind of funny, but I feel like it's pretty accurate.
Are you going through a midlife crisis right now?
No, I'm not quite that old.
I mean, you look like you're 40, so...
Alright, well, thanks for that. Do you like Jack's design?
I think it works really well. That's what I'm going to dress up as next Halloween.
You got the height.
He's all nice and gangly, and you know, I think it works.
You could pull it off.
I just have a little face mask thing.
Yeah, it's actually a character you could probably pull off alright.
That's what I'm going to do.
You inspire, terror in people, and...
I'm not going to be able to move around as cool as he can.
Gonna have to work on your flexibility a little
bit. Which has always been really poor.
Yeah, gonna have to work on that one just a bit.
Mm-hmm. But Jack's a fine character. Like, he really draws you in, makes it work.
I mean, this is really his film.
Yeah, he's on screen most of the time.
And he's singing most of the songs, or at least interjects in a lot of them. He's a big part of this film.
Yeah, the voice acting on Jack, grand. Who's the voice actor?
There's two of them.
There's two of them.
You got singing and talking.
Oh, okay.
So the speaking guy is Chris Sarandon or something. I don't really know how to say the name.
Uh-huh.
I didn't recognize him.
Chris Sauron, that's what I heard.
Yeah, Sauron.
Uh-huh.
And then the singing voice is Danny Elfman.
Both are great.
Yeah. Now, Danny also voices Beryl.
Uh-huh.
And I think he voices... Oh, the the clown, I believe.
So he has another, 12 lines. Got it.
Yeah. Well, Barrel has, an actual singing portion.
So does the clown.
Yeah, true. So he also wrote the songs.
Oh, I knew that.
So he's a cool guy.
I have always liked these songs and this movie, so...
But yeah, 2 voice actors.
I didn't know that, though. I feel like that's a good call. I feel like we try and force people to sing when they can't sometimes. And then it turns out good enough, and we stamp the good enough stamp on it, and then it gets to the public, and then the people are like, that was not good.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I feel like that's a smart choice. And it seamlessly works.
It works really well. Obviously, you couldn't tell.
I didn't tell. You probably can tell if you're really looking for it, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Any other characters you need to go through? I feel like we've hit on all of them at this point.
I will say I don't like Dr. Finkelstein.
Oh, I did forget about Mr. Finkelstein. I like him as a set piece, right? I think he works very well as a set piece. How he gets duped again and again, I don't really understand. You locked her behind this massive door and you left the window open? Nothing to it? She's drugged you 3 times in the week and you're like, nah, she'll stay put. 1, I don't understand that you're that stupid. 2, why is she still making your food?
There's a lot of questions. But his design is truly, it's ugly. But it's also intentionally ugly. They knew exactly what they made, and they nailed it, but I hate it at the same time. I don't want to look at this guy, his duckbill mouth, and his teeth.
It's kind of like he has a plague doctor mask on, but it's really his face.
Yeah.
It's a little more subdued.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. He's going around on his wheelchair. This guy is just freaking me out. What is this guy's doing?
I really like the brain showing thing.
He's rubbing his brain.
Yeah, where he starts rubbing it like someone would rub their head.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's very creative. And then he splits his brain to talk to himself.
Makes a woman, though.
Yeah, very smart.
Who also, for some reason, I think was in a wheelchair.
Well, of course. It's just ridiculous. And he doesn't seem like a very good guy. Now, admittedly, none of these people, I guess, are good, right?
Yeah, but other people seem whimsical.
Yeah.
Or they're just out here for a good laugh, even though maybe your version of a good laugh is not normal. He is truly a mad scientist, terrible human being.
Yeah. He sticks out as I kind of want this guy to get his comeuppance, but he kind of just gets away with everything, and...
He gets a happy ending.
Yeah, he gets a happy ending, and it's just all right, I guess so. Fair enough. Oogie Boogie doesn't get a happy ending, and he's an actual menace on this town, I guess.
Yeah, his presence is not great. We established that he's not a good guy, and we do it well enough that it's not a big deal, but what has he ever done? I don't know. He has his own torture chamber thing, which tells me you're a bad person, but I really don't know what he has done that's so bad.
Indeed. No, I like his song.
It's a nice, smooth song.
Very much so. It's pretty good. But he's a weird guy. Or bug. But it's a pretty small cast, overall.
There's not a lot happening. Y'all, I guess you get Zero.
You do have Zero.
I don't like Zero.
He's just Rudolph dog.
He's just a dog. A dead dog.
Yeah.
And I'm just even as a dead dog, it's still annoying.
It's just boring, is really my problem with him. It's you couldn't have made a really cool undead dog or something. You could even keep the whole reindeer thing, the red nose. But it's a boring design in an otherwise really fun world.
He exists for the reindeer nose, basically, but I really feel like Jack's companion should have been a black cat.
That would have been cool.
It just fits the theme of it really well.
There is a black cat in the film.
I know there is.
Hey, you could have done something with that.
But they didn't, sadly.
Missed opportunity.
But that now covers all the characters that are important.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. There's a werewolf guy and a couple lines. Doesn't really matter. You got the band. I don't know any of them. They play instruments.
I like the incorporation of the band with songs. They have songs and they're coming out, and it seamlessly seems like this band has just been playing the whole time. Because they heard this person start to sing, and they're like, yeah, I got you. All right.
Yeah, they work visually in the film very well.
But also just works auditorily, right? To be able to see it and hear it. It makes it feel more immersive.
I think so.
It was a good choice. Do you have a favorite song?
I mean, the easiest one is This Is Halloween. It's the most famous. I do think it is the best song, but I think it's an easy answer. I would say What's This is my second favorite, though. I like that song a lot. I also like Jack's Lament, which is the second song, and I like when he's blown out of the air and in the cemetery. I like that song, too.
I mean, I think, This Is Halloween and What's This are on the same level of good. And those are at the top. Everything else, besides the songs I already mentioned, are fine. They work in film.
Yeah, like the town meeting isn't really a song that works really well just listening while you're out working. I would know this. But This Is Halloween works well anytime, I think. It's just a good song.
Yeah, it nails what it wants to be. Works really well.
It's a really strong intro to the film. You see, like, the scarecrow when you go into the door and it spins and you got the leaves coming in and the music starts going and then
the graveyard.
The graveyard and everything and the pumpkins and everything. That's a really good opening couple minutes.
But also brings it back around with Jack being the scarecrow.
Yeah.
And it really ties everything together with them singing and...
Yeah, I think that's a really masterful introduction to this film. Maybe one of the best in a Disney movie. Of just, like, getting you interested immediately. You're like, yeah, this is great. I like this a lot. And it's the only part of that film that I had really ever remembered. Whereas the rest, I just didn't care for it. As a kid, I was never going to like this movie. But that intro does leave an impression. It's really good.
It's pretty grand. But I think it just sets the tone for basically the quality of the rest of the film. For the most part. There's a couple dips, but they're not big. So it's alright.
I like the hill with the winded nose on it, which is like the most famous shot of the film, right? It's like the cover with the yellow moon in the background and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very pretty shot. I like that a lot. I like the little details. I like there's just these pumpkins in random places, and it really looks like something that took a lot of effort to make. Like, oh man, this took a lot of work. I think there's over 100,000 stills to make this film.
I'm sure.
And there was I think I read it was like 4 or 5 sets going at once, which makes sense, because that's a lot. I imagine stop motion is just a pain in the butt. It always reminds me of the Parks and Rec episode, where Ben tries to make some claymation, as he calls it. And then he's like, I put all this work in and it's taken forever. And it's like just a couple seconds.
I think it's 4 seconds.
Yeah, and that's a really funny scene.
The only thing that I remember really about that is that he is over there like, I sent this to Leslie and said I was going to be the next Spielberg. And I'm like, yup. Mm-hmm.
You've definitely entered delusion in the whole world. Good job. But yeah, I think it's a good illustration that this is a lot of work. You don't get a lot of these films because they're a lot of work, and I don't think a lot of people want to do it. Now, the director, you know what his next film was? James and the Giant Peach.
That's a decent film.
I think you could create a stop-motion film.
I'm a pretty dedicated person, I could put up with that hard work. I'm going to make it about your life.
My life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a boring film.
It's going to be a great film. I'm going to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, exaggerate some of the finer details.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Your appearance, you're going to have a big old beard. I don't know why I'm going to do that to myself, because it's going to take a long time to make, but I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And you're gonna look like a ball, basically.
Like a ball.
Yeah. You're really big.
I'll be like the clown with the tearaway face.
Yeah, except bigger.
Oh, good.
Like, just insanely ridiculous.
Okay.
Because I'm only making minor changes here.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, besides the great film idea I now have, do you have other great things you need to say about Nightmare Before Christmas? Any negatives you need to throw in here?
You know, this movie didn't do big numbers at the box office. It made $91.5 million. Now, the budget was $24 million, so it made its money back. But it's considered a sleeper hit or a cult classic, and I always just felt like this was a bigger film than that.
No, I could see how this is not a film that did well. I feel like this would be a hard film to market. Because if you want to market to adults, I don't think a lot of adults are going to look at this film on a marketing point and be like, oh, yeah, that looks pretty decent. Let's go watch that. No, I don't know. But if you're marketing it to children, I also don't know that's the best idea.
Yeah, it's a really weird middle ground where this is kid friendly, but I can imagine a lot of kids look at this and go, nope, I'm not watching that. And I get it. And I get where an adult would be like, is this for me? I don't know. This looks like a kid's movie, but not a kid's movie. It's a very strange production. I can understand why Disney was kind of nervous with this film, to be honest.
It knows what it wants to be. It just doesn't have a genre that neatly it fits into and works.
Yeah, it doesn't have that mass appeal button.
Which is sad, because it's great. It's good. You know what else is sad? The fact that this gets treated like it can be a Christmas film. It cannot. It is the nightmare before Christmas. Right?
Now, this movie takes place on Halloween, the days in between Halloween and Christmas, which is a fair bit, and then it also takes place on Christmas.
Christmas Eve. We do not have moving on to Christmas Day.
Okay, we have the day after when Santa Claus is coming back. He visits Halloween Town, right? And it's the morning.
He's coming back.
It's the morning.
That doesn't mean that we are on Christmas Day.
We've definitely entered Christmas Day there.
I'm not calling it.
So, this is a Halloween movie. I like to call it a Christmas movie.
Only to irk me.
Yeah, that's exactly why I do it. But I acknowledge it's a Halloween movie.
Yeah, this is specifically a Halloween movie. That's the important thing that we all need to take away from this. I've been really nice about, this film, but I really need to throw out there that this is a Halloween film. Everybody who thinks differently is a heathen.
No, you know what scene I also like?
Let's hear it.
The shriveled head in the box. He turns around with the head that show his parents. I think that's pretty funny.
He pulls it out of the box. They're like, what'd you get? And he turns around and he pulls it out of the box and they scream and he's still holding it.
Yeah, he holds it forever. Just like hours. That's a pretty funny little scene. I like that.
It's decent.
I like how he does it. He sees Jack in his outfit and everything, and he's a little confused, but he doesn't question too hard about why Santa Claus is, in fact, a skeleton. Maybe, Santa Claus has been doing this a long time, and even death didn't stop him from doing his job. I don't know, but it's kind of a weird little thing.
I don't know. Children are excited. They move on. Presents, whatever. It's Santa Claus. I like that the military gets involved. Like, straight up, though.
Yeah.
Like, if this happened in America, some guy flying in the sky.
Scramble the jets.
We would not hesitate, to send out jets, anti-aircraft, shots from the ground, which is what happens here. I'm like, yeah.
Some pretty funny stuff.
I feel like it only is really great as an adult. Where you're like, yeah, we would respond in this ridiculous fashion.
It's outrageous, but it's slightly believable. Like, yeah, that sounds like an appropriate response for us. I like how everybody's calling the police, and he's just got all these phones, and he's like, yeah, I know.
He only has one phone at the start, and then he's picked up the extra phones for when it gets busy.
And they're doing like a whole, television news report, it looks like Christmas is canceled this year. Oh no.
Yeah, Santa Claus is just a normalized existence.
Yeah, everybody knows he exists. He definitely 100% exists. It's quite the world. Now, do you think the real world is the West Coast, and then all the other towns are the East Coast?
The real world?
Yeah, where the humans are living.
Well, West Coast is best coast.
Yeah.
As always.
Right.
Won't change. I think that, Jack is... And Halloween Town is in the middle of a forest, a dark forest somewhere in Europe, I've decided.
Europe.
The Europeans can have Halloween Town.
Okay. That's a nice gift.
Christmas Town is on the South Pole, because everybody thinks it's on the North Pole, so he's got to be hidden down there in Antarctica.
That's why no one can find it.
That's where that's at. Easter Town, we'll take Easter on the West Coast.
I don't want Easter. I'd rather have St. Patty's Day.
No. St. Patty's Day is definitely on the East Coast.
Okay.
That's definitely where that's at. That town exists on the East Coast.
Not Europe, though.
No. Europeans got Halloween Town.
Yeah, okay.
And then what we got? We got Thanksgiving.
We do.
Yeah, Thanksgiving Town is not real.
I kind of want to know what's going on in Thanksgiving Town, to be honest.
There are a bunch of turkeys, and they're consistently being killed. It's just like a slaughter floor.
Yeah.
And they're just being baked off at the end of every day. Nice fresh turkey.
the people just eat
Yeah, they just
Thanksgiving
eat
dinner
turkey.
all the time.
Or it's, consistently just a celebration of coming together between, the Native Americans and the real Americans.
Yeah, exactly how I would put that.
I mean, that was the nicest way to phrase that.
Yeah, I mean, pretty accurate representation. Well, I'm glad we got that figured out. I mean, I think we could draw a map of this now.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, do you have any other not nonsense things that you need to throw in here right now?
I don't think so.
Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion. All our thoughts, opinions, feelings. I feel like my one hot take over here. That's it. But we now need to hear from you. We need you to have at us. We need you to go down to the description, find the social media links, click those. It's important. We need to hear how much you love this film and why it is not a Christmas film. I need to know that people agree with me because I have the right opinion. We also need you to like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things.
And of course, for you real supporters out there, for our homies, as they would say, there's one more thing you can do. Kidnap your local mayor. Now, I know this is asking a lot. You're putting a lot on the line. But this is going to do us a lot of good. You're going to get his car. You're going to get his person. It could be a woman, her person. And you're going to put some microphones up on that bad boy. And you're going to have them go around town or your city, wherever you live, I don't know. And they're going to spout our glory to all the residents. And because they're so influential, because everybody on the planet can name their local mayor, everybody will start listening to us. And I appreciate that.
Now, if someone lives in the same town as someone else, does this need to happen twice? One for each of them? Or they work together?
Work together.
They gotta work together, okay. Alright, let's hear your score here.
I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 10.
I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10.
Have at us.